Have a seat on your mat and just kind of get yourself situated so that we can check in with our bodies today. Once you're seated, take a deep breath in through your nose, then a big exhale through your mouth, and just settle into your skin. So noticing how everything feels, anything that might be tight or stiff, and all the parts that feel amazing. Just notice them all. And then let's deepen our breath, slow it down. And if you can, do an Ujjayi breath. Check in with your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy. And then let's bring palms together and just take the opportunity to set an intention for practice today. When you're clear about your intention, deep inhale, big exhale through the mouth. We're just going to do some seated cat-cows to begin with. So hands on knees if your legs are crossed. If your legs are extended, you can tuck your hands underneath your knees, or you can just put them beside you, it's fine. Your chin should stay parallel to the floor, so we don't want to whip the head back and forth. We're just going to inhale and push our chest forward, and exhale and pull the chest back. Inhale is kind of like you're arching your back. Exhale, it's like you're rounding your back. Do that a couple more times. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, back. One more. And as you finish that last one out, just transition onto hands and knees. And now we're going to do full on cat-cows. So inhaling to arch, this time the head does follow. Exhaling to round the back. Just following your own breath rate. Arching and rounding with each breath. And then from here, I'm actually going to have you start in an extended child's pose. So from all fours, if you'll bring your big toes to touch, but take your knees more towards the sides of the mat. Keep your arms extended. Take your backside towards your heels and nestle your rib cage down. Forehead hits the floor, arms are extended. This is just a gentle beginning of opening up the chest. Then we're going to transition it to traditional child's pose, knees together if you can, forehead down, hands are back by the feet, palms up. Now you're going to feel your back is rounded. Scoot forward onto your stomach into Sphinx. And as you come into your Sphinx pose, remember you don't want to hunch the head and shoulders together. You want to lift up out of the shoulders and really pull with your arms. I want you to think about your chest pulling forward. And then from here, take your first downward facing dog. And so you can pedal the feet a little bit if you need to. Any movement that feels good, and then find some stillness for a couple of breaths. Walk your feet forward. Keep your knees bent. We're just going to keep the neck relaxed and hang and ragdoll for a couple of breaths. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up. Reach the arms up and overhead. Lift your chest. If you can, lift your gaze.
And then really reach up with your arms, maybe even reach back a tiny bit and hold this for 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up, stretch up, and maybe even back a little bit. Exhale, fold forward, all the way down, standing forward bend. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, back down. We're gonna step back with the left leg. Just hold your lunge for a moment. Drop your left knee down to the ground and take your right hand up towards the ceiling. And then kind of roll the right side of your chest open a little bit. You're even welcome to play with that right arm, but try and get the beginnings of a chest stretch here. And then bring both hands to the top of your right thigh. Tilt the pelvis, lift the rib cage, let your hips go forward. When you find the front of the left hip stretch, keep that. Take your left arm up and maybe even reach it back a little bit to see how that feels. And if you feel stable enough, let that right arm go ahead and join it. And then start to bend the elbows, squeezing your shoulder blades together, pulling them down the back. Bring both hands down on either side of your right foot. Fully extend your right leg, flexing the ankle and the toes and pulling your heart forward. Bring your right knee back to meet your left knee. Give yourself a little tail wag. Those of you doing traditional vinyasas, you are welcome to do that, but you may want to meet us on your stomach after a plank pose. We're going to take our child's pose here for a breath. And then scoot forward onto your stomach, but I'd like you to have your hands back by your hips, palms down. Your chin is gonna stay on the floor, and you're gonna raise your right leg up and back. Lower your right leg down, raise your left leg up and back. Left leg down, slide your hands forward so they're directly under your shoulders. Squeeze your feet together for this one. Lift your chest a tiny bit and then take your hands off the floor. So now you're working the upper back, which opens up the chest. Bring your hands back down, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward. Hold your lunge for a moment. Drop your right knee down, and let's take the left hand up towards the ceiling. And then see if you can roll your heart open. So you're welcome to move the left arm around a little bit, but we're trying to get that initial chest stretch. Come up with both hands on top of your left thigh. Tilt your pelvis, lift your rib cage, sink those hips forward. Find the stretch in the front of your right thigh. And then let's take that right arm up and slightly back. And then let your left arm join it if that feels okay. Start to bend the elbows, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then hands on either side of your left foot. Fully extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and toes and pull your chest forward. Bend your left knee, step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale and reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway. And then back down. So you're going to step back with your left foot. Get that foot flat. Adjust the width of your feet if you need to. We're going to rise up for warrior one. So your right knee is bent, your left leg is straight, your hips are pointing forward. And then we're going to take the arms up and overhead. So I want you to take a moment and really feel very rooted and very grounded through the soles of the feet, and also feel very strong. Notice how your legs are strong. And then let the arms open out to the side, palms facing up, and reach the arms back slightly. So nice chest stretch. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And then we're going to fold forward and take our right shoulder to the right thigh. Relax the neck. Reach the arms up for humble warrior. Come all the way back up. Release your arms. Roll your shoulders back. And then I'm going to have you just bring your hands to the mat. Step straight back to downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward. Spin your right heel flat. Adjust the feet. Come up. Warrior one on the left side. And again, I'd like you to pause here and really connect the feet to the earth and feel your strength. So when we're doing heart openers and they make us feel somewhat vulnerable, it's nice to feel rooted and it's nice to feel strong. Arms come out to the side, palms are up. Lift the chest. Reach those arms back a little bit for a really nice deep chest stretch. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and fold forward. Taking left shoulder to the left thigh. Relaxing the neck, reaching the arms up. Come all the way back up. Release your arms, warrior one. And then go ahead and use some leg strength and step forward to your standing forward bend. Come all the way up, arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway. And then back down. So move back onto your hands and knees. Give yourself a little tail wag. And then flatten out again. So we're coming onto the stomach again. This time your hands are going to be back by your hips and your palms are facing up. Now please be mindful of back issues, but what we're going to do is a flying locust. So we've done both ends with the legs lifting and we did the top part with the chest lifting. Now we're going to lift it all. So I want you to lift both legs and your chest. And if you feel comfortable, go ahead and take the arms off the floor too. Lower back down. Bring your hands back up by your shoulders. Turn your toes under. Downward facing dog. Press the hips back. Take the right leg up into the air. Bend your knee. Roll that right hip. Open, open, open. Test the waters on that. See how you feel. Put your right foot back down. Take your left leg up in the air. Bend the knee. Roll your hip. Open, open, open. And see how you feel. Left foot back down and drop to your knees. So the reason I said see how you feel is I'm going to have you work into what's modernly called wild thing, also known as flipping your dog. It's a lovely chest opener torso stretch, but you had to have felt somewhat stable in that last pose. If you do not, then you do not have to attempt it. You can simply do the beginning part of it, which is what we just did. Otherwise, let's give it a shot and we'll go slow so that we do it properly. Toes turn under, tailbone up and back, downward facing dog. Left leg in the air, bend the knee, roll that hip open. Your right foot is going to spin, but your right leg will stay straight. Your left foot will drop behind you. Your left arm reaches over your head. In other words, parallel to the ground. Your fingers are pointing in the same direction as the crown of your head. Breathe. Come all the way back around, downward facing dog. Right leg in the air, bend the knee, roll the hip bone open. Your left foot is going to rotate a little bit. Left leg stays straight. Right foot hits the floor and is flat. Right arm reaches overhead. Come back to your downward facing dog. And then drop to your knees and take a child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Scoot forward onto your stomach for cobra. Those of you that are doing full vinyasas can do this as upward facing dog. The rules are kind of the same. As we start to lift the chest, the shoulders pull down, the elbows are by the side, and the elbows stay slightly bent, even if you're in a full up dog. And the chest is pulling forward. And then downward facing dog again. Walk your feet forward. Standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So now we're going to do dancer pose. We're going to balance in dancer pose. If you need to hang on to something, that's fine, because the point of today is using your leg strength to open up the front of the chest. So standing on your right foot first. If you need to hang on to something, hang on with your right hand. I want you to have your left arm out to the side, palms facing up. You're going to reach behind you and just kind of put your left foot in your left hand, which means you'll be grabbing the big toe side. You'll notice your shoulder and chest already feel open. So you're either hanging on to something or your right arm is up in the air. And then what I want you to do is push your left leg strongly back behind you, like your foot is pressing away from your backside until you feel the stretch on the front of the left side of your chest. And then if you want to lean into it, that's fine, or you can just stay where you're at. It's all about the chest stretch today. And then we'll come back up, replace the left foot on the ground. Same thing on the other side. If you need to hang on with your left hand. So you might need to turn around, that's fine. Right arm reaches back. We put that right foot into the right hand. So you should be grabbing the big toe side of your right foot, and you should already feel some opening on that right shoulder. If you're not hanging on to something, your left arm is up. Your right foot strongly presses back to open up right side of the chest. And then it's up to you if you want to lean into it. Come back up, put your right foot back down. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, back down. We're gonna step back onto our hands and knees again and come up to kneeling. So we're gonna work with full camel today. A lot of times I do half camel in this class. We're gonna do full camel, but here's the deal. If you have back issues, your hands stay on your hips or sacrum and never leave, okay? That's fine. If you think you wanna grab for the heels, you always have the option of turning the toes under so that your heels are closer. Just a note, for anyone that does wanna grab for their heels, or even if you don't, your thighs should be vertical. If you're leaning back like this, getting your thighs to go back to reach your heels, you're missing the point. They have to stay straight up and down. So choose wisely and please don't hurt yourself. It's about opening the chest. So we're all gonna start the same way. Hands are on your hips. Tilt your pelvis back and push your hips forward. Now, if you're gonna keep your hands on your hips, you kind of squeeze the elbows together behind you, you'll feel your chest open. Lift your chest and start to roll it back. And this is perfect. This is still full camel. If you want to, you can reach back for the heels, but you don't have to. Breathe high into your chest. And then as you come up, all the way down into full-on rounded back child's pose, and take a couple of deep, slow breaths here. Come on up from your child's pose, and we're going to transition from this straight into melting heart. So again, it's a heart opening pose. I frequently have you do the half version. I want you to go for the whole version today. Thighs are still vertical, very important. Arms are straight, and we're walking them out. Now, if your shoulders are tight or you have shoulder injuries, you might put your head on a block. You might get your forehead to the ground. The idea is to let the heart melt down towards the ground. If you have very happy shoulders, you might even have your chest on the ground. Come on up from that. Give yourself a couple of cat-cow stretches. And then straight into downward facing dog. Tailbone up and back and stretch. Lengthen out. Then drop to your knees for a moment. So I'm going to give you an option. If you're working on flipping your dog, we're going to do that again and kind of work slowly and see if we can get into it well. If that is not part of your practice today, good for you. You can simply do an extended child's pose, right? Or you could continue to do some cat-cow stretches. All right, if you're going to try and flip your dog, or if you are flipping your dog, downward facing dog, the left leg goes up and the left knee bends, and you start to roll that left hip open. Your right heel is going to start moving towards the right side of the mat. Your right leg stays straight. That left foot just finds the floor. It's flat. And your left arm reaches parallel to the ground over your head. Nice deep stretch. Come back around. Downward facing dog. Right leg goes up. Bend the knee. Start to roll your hip bone open. Right foot hits the ground, right arm is up and overhead. And then all the way back around, downward facing dog. We're going to drop to our knees and take a child's pose. Then we're going to scoot forward onto our stomachs. Bring your feet together. This time I want you to interlace your fingers behind your back. Keep your feet on the ground and pull the arms back to lift the chest. Lower yourself back down, hands under shoulders, downward facing dog and stretch. From this downward facing dog, you can walk your feet forward, have a seat, and come into Dandasana. Just some different types of heart opening today. Find your sit bones and take a moment and find some stillness and just check in. So hands can be by your hips, of course, if you need that to help keep your spine straight. Legs should be active. So I want you to just check in with your body so far. How are you doing? Check in with your breathing. Make sure you're still connected to a deep and even breath. Check in with your thoughts. Check in with your emotions. And these are important. So when I say that, particularly at the midpoint, if you find yourself judging or critiquing yourself for some of the different poses I had you do, turn that voice off. If you find emotions like frustration or disappointment or something coming up, throw those out. We're here just to come back to ourselves, to know that wherever we're at today, it's perfect. It's exactly as it should be. So it's part of our check-in, right? We're making sure that we're being kind to ourselves. And then also just check your energy. And then from here, we're gonna go into a seated forward bend. Your arms aren't going to grab anything though. I want you to have your hands beside your thighs. And as you push your heart forward, you just kind of let your arms slide. So I don't want the shoulders up by the ears. I don't want you to grab for your ankles or your feet. I want you to just let your heart lead the way. Let your heart move forward. And then coming up from that, we're going to bring our hands behind us quite a distance, much farther than they were for Dandasana. And all I want you to do is lift your chest and push it forward. So it's like a little baby upper back bend. Come up from that, take your legs wide. And then once you're on your sit bones, I'm going to have you interlace your fingers behind your back and squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then yet again, you're just letting your heart lead the way. So you just push your chest forward. Keep the legs very active. Toes should be pointing straight up. Come on back up from that, release the arms, roll the shoulders back. You can bring your legs together, give them a little bit of a wiggle. So we're gonna keep the left leg straight. I'm not mirroring you. You're gonna keep your left leg straight. Take your right foot across your left thigh and have that foot very flat. Left hand is gonna hang on to the right knee or shin to help pull you into a straight position, because what I want you to do is raise your right arm up in the air and kind of swim it around behind you. Reach way back before you find the floor, because I want you to feel a stretch on the front of your right shoulder, right side of the chest. Then you can begin your spinal twist, Once you've got all of that going, if you want to bring the left elbow outside the right knee, you can, but you don't have to. So your spine should be straight, you're rotating to the right, and you're also feeling some opening on the right side of the chest. Unwind from that and extend your right leg. Now you're going to pick your left foot up and bring it across your right thigh. Your left foot should be completely flat. Your right hand is going to grab hold of your left knee or shin and lift up for a straight spine. Your left arm reaches up and then you kind of swing it around behind you, finding that spot where if you put your left hand on the ground and your spine is straight, you feel an opening on the front of your left shoulder, left side of the chest. So spine is straight, you're rotating to the left, left side of the chest is stretching. If you want to at that point, right elbow can go outside left knee, but not necessary. Rotate back around, extend that left leg out, come back onto your sit bones, give your legs a little wiggle. Good. So we're going to move into fish pose, which is an upper back bend. I'm going to go ahead and show you the full version in case any of you would like to do it, but we're going to start with the modified version, and we're going to be doing it 2 ways today. So you have the option of doing it modified or full on both ways. But what I'd like you to do first is with legs straight, we just barely tuck the fingertips underneath the backside and we come back onto the forearms. And then the way that we get the chest opening is the center of the heart lifts up, and if it's okay with your neck, your head drops back. If your neck needs to stay neutral, that's fine. But the idea is that your chest is lifting up, up, up. Now, just in case anyone has a super healthy neck and wants to try it, the full version would be on the top of the head with palms together in prayer. Please don't do this if you have neck issues. Go ahead and come out of that, hug your knees up, and rock side to side. And then roll to your right side and press yourself up into sitting with your left hand. So as I said, we're going to do it twice. There's 2 variations to this pose. And the second one is cross-legged. If any of you are limber enough to do full lotus, you can do it from lotus. The rest of us will just be in a regular cross-legged position. So the hand position and neck position are the same, whether you're modified or full on. If you're modified, your hands are tucked underneath your backside and your chest is lifted here. The only difference is if you do get onto the crown of the head, you actually grab your toes. So if you choose to, you can be on the crown of the head instead of having your hands in prayer. You're grabbing your feet. 2 more breaths here. And then coming out of that, hug your knees and rock side to side. Now from here, we're going to be going into bridge pose, and we're going to be doing this as an upper back bend. So sometimes we use this for hip opening, sometimes we use it for heart opening. It's definitely both. Our emphasis today is on heart opening. So if you have low back issues, you should still be okay with this. Big toes are going to touch, the heels are going to separate. Your hands or palms down by your hips. Let's go ahead and lift the hips up first. Those of you that would like to, you're welcome to interlace your fingers underneath you and get your arms straight. And then the idea is once the hips are up, we're still not getting the heart opening. The heart opening comes from lifting the rib cage and the sternum. It's like you're trying to get your chest to touch your chin, not the other way around. Your head stays neutral, but your chest is lifting up towards your chin. A way to take 3 extra deep breaths here. On your next exhale, lower down. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock side to side. If it feels okay in your body, you might even want to rock back and forth a few times. This will help kind of unwind you from those heart openers. And then just come to rest on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat. So we're going to do a heart opening rotating twist. We're going to go through this nice and slow. We'll go through it together. So what I'd like you to do is take your right arm out to the right, your left arm over your head, palm up. This is where we're going to start. This will be a whole pattern and we'll go super slow. You're going to start taking both of your knees to the right as that left arm comes around and it winds up being palm down on top of your right hand. So at this point, you're lying on your right side, your arms are straight out in front of your heart, and your palms are touching. Now we start the return journey. That left arm is going to start sliding along the floor. The arm stays straight, by the way. As it starts getting up and overhead, you start rolling. And it'll rotate to a palms up position here, kind of like where we started. And then it's going to go ahead and come all the way out to the left. We're going to take the right arm up and start rolling to the left. So that as we end up, we're on our left side with right hand touching left. All right, here we go. Right arm comes up and overhead. Now here's what I want you to do. Take it all the way out to the right side and turn your head to the right. Now it's a spinal twist. Left arm is going to come up, knees come up with it, and you bring it all the way around. You're lying on your right side, palms are touching. Keep your knees to the right this time. Take that left arm up and overhead. Slide it all the way around and to the left. Palm up, turn your head to the left. Now you're in a spinal twist and you should feel chest opening. Bring the right arm up and overhead. Knees are going to come with it. And we're going to take it all the way around to the left. Right arm up and overhead. Keep your knees to the left. Let that right arm come all the way back out. Right side of the chest is stretching now. Left arm comes up and over and the knees are going to come with it until you're lying on your right side, palms together. Leave your knees to the right. Take that left arm up and overhead. Swing it all the way around and to the left, palm up. Head turns to the left, spinal twist. Right arm comes up and over, knees come with it. Lying on your left side. Final time, and we'll be holding it on this one. So let's take the right arm up and overhead. Keep your knees to the left. Let your right arm open out to the right. Turn your head to the right. Hold this for 3 breaths. Let your left arm come up and overhead. The knees are going to come with it. You're lying on your right side. Palms are together. Last time with the left arm going all the way out and to the left. Knees stay to the right. Head turns to the left. Hold for 3 breaths. And I want you to just bring your knees up so your arms are still out to the side. And this is a little different. Just be careful if you've got shoulder issues. All right. So our arms are out to the side like a T. Palms are facing up. Feet are flat. Knees are bent. If you can, I want you to keep the back of the hand on the floor. If you have shoulder issues, this may not happen. Keep the back of the hand on the floor and bend the elbows. So you've got about 90 degrees at each elbow. Then, keeping hands on the floor, start sliding your arms up and overhead. So you want to keep the back of the upper arm, the back of the forearm, and the back of the hand on the floor. And if you have shoulder issues and that doesn't happen, please don't force it. And you keep reaching up and overhead. You'll start feeling your back kick in and your chest will start to open. So everything has to stay flat. And then you're going to slide back down. 2 more times like that. Arms are sliding along the floor. Everything is staying flat. You're reaching up and overhead, bringing them back down. You should feel your shoulder blades moving as you're doing this. Final one. And release. Give your knees a good hug. And then we're going to do a slightly deeper spinal twist for heart opening. So I'd like you to keep your left knee bent and hugged into your chest. Your right leg is going to extend all the way out onto the floor. If you can, hook the toes of your left foot inside your right knee or thigh. Now, just humor me on this. Forget about your left arm right now. Go ahead and pull that left knee all the way over to the floor on the right side. So you're using your right hand to pull your left knee all the way to the floor on the right side. Then, without letting it lift back up, I have to hold mine down. Let that left arm open back out to the left and turn your head to the left. Keep your left knee on the floor. Now, some of you guys will have the shoulder flexibility to have your left knee touching the floor and the left arm touching the floor on the other side. If that's the case, super cool. You're working towards getting your left shoulder blade to touch down. Those of us who have our entire arm in the air, we're just going to breathe it down towards the floor. Head turns to the left if that's okay with your body. One more breath here. You may have noticed that you release every time you exhale. Come back up, hug your left knee in, bring your right knee up to meet it. Keep your right knee hugged in, extend your left leg all the way out onto the floor. If you can, hook the toes of your right foot behind or inside your left knee or thigh. Forget about the right arm right now. Left hand on the outside of that right thigh pulls the leg all the way across the body. And that might mean that you're practically lying on your left side. That's fine. Right knee stays on the ground. Right arm opens back out to the right. So again, if you're like me, my entire arm is in the air. So that means I'm feeling a really great stretch right now. And I'm just going to be breathing my right hand closer to the floor. If your hand or arm is already on the ground and your right knee is still touching on the left, you're just trying to get your right shoulder blade flat. And so you breathe and you release. One more breath on this side. And then on your next inhale, come on up as you exhale. Hug your right knee in. Bring your left knee up to meet it and rock side to side. You can reach down and grab the outside edges of your feet now and begin to happy baby a little bit. So we have like 6 or 7 breaths here, which basically means you have ample time to do any pose that you wish that I had done that we didn't do in practice, or any pose that your body is asking you for. You've got time. Go for it. Otherwise, you can just kind of wiggle around and see what's happening in the lower body. When you feel like you're ready, go ahead and bring your feet down to the mat. Knees are bent. We're going to do our legs like butterfly wings today. So as you exhale, the knees are dropping open. Soles of the feet might touch. As you inhale, your knees are coming back up, pointing at the ceiling and touching with your feet flat on the mat. Just breathe really slowly and move slowly in time to your breath. Exhaling, knees are opening. Inhaling, knees are closing. Couple more of these. And the next time that your knees drop open, I'd like you to leave them open. You're going to slide your arms along the floor until they are up and over your head. Interlace your fingers, but extend your index fingers up. So this will be our final little baby heart opener. What I'd like you to do is really strongly reach along the floor through your index fingers as you press your knees down and slightly lift the ribcage, kind of like you did in bridge pose. It's a barely perceptible lift, but you'll feel it. Your upper chest is open. Take 3 deep breaths here. On your next exhale, relax your body, unlace the hands, bring them down below the height of the shoulders with the palms facing up. Breathe for a moment, and then we'll do our final low back lengthener. So as you inhale, press your low back into the mat. Hold it as you breathe. And then exhale and release. And one more time, inhale, tilting the pelvis back to flatten the back, to lengthen those muscles that run on either side of your spine. And then exhale and release. Begin to extend your legs. Separate your feet, wiggle a little if you need to. Make sure your entire back feels long. That includes your neck. Shoulders are relaxed. Your throat is soft. Your eyes are closed. Your face is soft. Your jaw is relaxed. Just take a really deep breath in here. And exhale. Just begin to allow your body to settle and relax 100%. Feel everything just letting go. Feel your breathing starting to smooth out and get softer, gentler, shallower. I want you to bring your attention to the space on your back between your shoulder blades, so your upper back. Think of it as the back side of your heart. Feel how protected it is right now by the floor and underneath that, the earth. Nothing can get at the back side of your heart. Totally protected. Very safe. Feel into the front side of your heart now, the center of your chest, and feel how open it is, both literally and figuratively. So your chest muscles have stretched and opened, the rib cage is open, and energetically, You are wide open. It's nice to know when we open ourselves and perhaps create vulnerability that we are also protected and safe. So we have the capacity for both, to be completely open, to be completely safe, or to find that beautiful middle path between the two, where we do feel somewhat safe and protected, but we still have the capacity to be open. When we're open this way, we no longer are separate. And that is the definition of yoga. It's union. We have merged with everything around us, with all of creation, with each other, with the bigger energy, with everything. When we close our hearts, we close ourselves off. We are separate. And that's what the yogis say causes us to suffer. So when we close off and separate, the heart is closed. When we open ourselves to life and to things as they are, we allow ourselves to be seen as we are. And that's the ultimate yoga. Feel how it feels to be wide open and to be merged and in union with everything, and yet to still have the safety of the earth beneath you. As you really embrace this feeling, I want you to notice how freeing it is, how free you feel. Because when we allow ourselves to be seen and we open to what is, we no longer have expectations, so there are no disappointments, there is no judgment. We're free of all those entanglements that frequently cause us to suffer. Notice that sense of freedom. And then just start to feel back into your body. Notice how every part of you feels. You can begin to move your fingers and toes. You can begin to deepen your breath. When you're ready, take that extra deep breath and spread your fingers and toes, and then exhale and relax them. Deeper inhale, stretch, stretch, stretch through arms and legs, and then exhale and relax. Bend your knees, whether that means hugging them in or just letting the feet be flat on the floor. Roll to your right side, and then press yourself up into sitting. Just kind of taking a moment here to check in. How does the body feel? How's your breath? What about your thoughts and your emotions and your energy? For our pranayama today, we're going to have our eyes open, and we're going to be doing blossoming lotus mudra. And so what that looks like and what it does is kind of embodies these energies that we've played with today. So if you think about a flower bud,
It's protecting the bloom and what's in the center, right? So that was like that sensation of your back being protected by the floor of the earth. And then an open bloom is like our hearts, the front side that was wide open to both show our beauty and to receive beauty. So the way that this mudra works is your little fingers and your thumbs are sealed up. For the bud, you just bring all of the fingertips together, but the knuckles are separated. And for the bloom, the blossom, everything opens, but the fingers and thumbs stay connected. Now we're going to do this right at our heart level because that's the jewel. There is a Tibetan Buddhist mantra that says Om Mani Padme Hum, which means the jewel is in the lotus. It's your heart. That's where all the beauty resides. That's where you reside. That's who you are. So as we're inhaling, we're going to be opening our lotus, which is opening our heart. And as we're exhaling, we're closing back up into the bud, symbolizing that we are safe and we can open and be vulnerable when we blossom. All right. So I'd love for you to watch your hands. Start with your bud right at heart level. As you inhale, allow your lotus to bloom. All the fingers open out. And as you exhale, allow it to close back up into its little bud. Keep going at your own breath rate. Two more breaths like this. As you come to that final little bud, just allow the palms to flatten out so that you're in Anjali Mudra, prayer position in front of your heart. And I'd like you to slightly drop your chin down. Bow to your own beautiful heart. Bow to who you are at your center. Because you are connected to everything. And ultimately, it's all love. Take a moment in gratitude for that. That you can open up and be vulnerable. You can open up to receive the beauty and you can still be safe. Take one more huge inhale through your nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Bringing palms together in front of the forehead, we're reminded to stay present, to be in the moment. Bringing palms together in front of the lips, we're reminded to speak our truth. Bringing palms together in front of the heart, we're reminded to keep our hearts open, just like our practice today, wide open, so that we can receive everything good coming to us, and we can share that good. We can be kind, we can be compassionate, and we can be loving. And we can also include ourselves in that. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.